Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms, and I've had a lot of requests for this ever since I did the review of this Quiet Glide box. But people are requesting that I do a toolbox tour, like I did for my Montezuma and my Harbor Freight 56-inch box. So here it is. Keep in mind this is my home box, so not all my tools are here. Obviously, majority of my tools are still at work, but I bring stuff home as I need it when I'm working on stuff, and I do have a pretty decent set here. So, first of all, this is a 26-inch wide Craftsman Quiet Glide, and it's got the side cabinet. Now that cabinet on the left, that's a Harbor Freight that I picked up, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the lock is missing for it. I've got one on order for that. Lost the keys. So we'll go ahead and start with that cabinet. Open that up. I can tell, but I'm fighting a pretty bad cold. Up on the top shelf here's a little mix and match. This is kind of unorganized, but they've got a set of Allen wrenches. Actually, I need those, so that's a tape measure. Most of the stuff you see in the back there are cables for my scan tool and a digital multimeter. This is kind of a neat tool. It's a magnetic base, and it's you can bend it, and it holds your flashlight when you're working on cars, which is kind of nice. Okay, go down to our next level here, and I've got my OTC Genesis scan tool and a box of gloves. Love that scan tool. If you're interested in an advanced scan tool, very inexpensive. I can't recommend that highly enough. And at some point I'll do a video review showing off how cool it is. But you can pick those up for like $150, $200. And they'll do just about everything you need to do with a car. Alright, we'll move down here, and I've got some Briggs & Stratton parts there. That's a starter rebuild kit. That is a UV light kit for detecting AC and oil leaks with UV. The blow molded cases here. This first one is a good old-fashioned Craftsman strobe light, timing light. You don't use those very much, so I took that home from work. And then that is actually a knife deer processing kit that I purchased. I mean, not just deer, you can use it for anything. And then down here, got a K&N rebuild kit. These are just tape and pieces. That's for a funnel for chemicals. Got some safety protection glasses. In the back there is a vinyl repair kit, and that blue plastic line there is for a vacuum tester. And then in the bottom drawer, I've got most of my AC stuff. Back when I lived in a hotter climate, AC business was big business. Up here, not so much. So I keep it at the house most of the time. I will bring it in for the summer for those few months that people might come in and need work. Also got a Volvo fuel pressure gauge with the special Volvo fittings for the old LH systems. That was what I specialized in back in the day. In the back there, I've got UV dye cartridges for a UV dye tool. I don't know where the tool is. I think I might still have that at work because I did fill up a car not too long ago. Anyway, I like that Harbor Freight side cabinet. I did buy an extra shelf for it because it comes with just one shelf, and really I could almost go with 3 on that. Up on top here, this tray is like it's hard to see, but mostly electric stuff, spare parts, just little tidbits. And in my Montezuma box, which I used to have here at the house, I've sold. This fit in a drawer, and I just haven't had a place for it, so it's kind of random stuff. I've got a PEX crimping tool that I've just purchased because I need to do some repair work underneath the house, and a set of mechanics gloves. And we'll move on over to the Craftsman box. Now this box is 20 years old this year, which is pretty crazy. But in the back there, those are standard size sockets in both 6 and 12 point. I'm missing 1 or 2 of those. I've been trying to make a list of all the sockets I'm missing. I'll reorder. At work I have the impact stuff, and so I keep the older. This is the stuff I started off with in life, the regular chrome. And up front is what's left of my 12-point metric set. Obviously a lot of holes in that kit. But again, I'm taking inventory. I'm going to try to find some replacements before Sears completely buckles and goes under. Then here I've got some precision screwdrivers, little stuff for delicate work. A couple of impact sockets that I brought home for a specific job, and my Craftsman impact wrench, which I keep here at the house because at work I don't do engine rebuilds or anything like that, so that's best left here. Okay, and then we had a bunch of smaller drawers here. Again, this is kind of overflow from work, so I'm a pretty organized individual, but there might be some unorganization going on here. So I got my saw blades for the different, I got a circular saw set and hacksaw, stuff like that. A couple of zip ties as well, and some blades. Allen wrenches and specialty wrenches here. Gloves and a flashlight. That flashlight probably doesn't work, but some gloves. These gloves are smaller gloves for my wife to use when she's helping me out here. More zip ties. This is trim specialty stuff, plastic for pulling off door panels, trim pieces, stuff like that. I really should have that at work, but for whatever reason I don't. That's a spark plug gap tool and a V-belt, or not a V-belt, but a multi-rib belt tester. That one's fairly empty. A little piezo torch there with some fuel for it. Mostly overflow stuff, pens, pencils, little doodads, some things for keeping track of, you put those stickers on engines and you can keep track of when you did your last service, which is kind of nice. And this is bits and drill bits, mostly bit fittings. Old compass from Boy Scouts, a couple of line levels. I'm not sure how those ended up in there, but I guess that's just where they ended up. Files. This is a detail file kit for like little stuff. Got my for adjusting valves, and this is a masonry bit set. Excuse me, I'm fighting off one hell of a cold here. More random bits, starters. This is for propane. The starters for it. Another, I think that was probably one of those Harbor Freight. Yeah, Harbor Freight free tape measures, which are always nice. And then we get into the real tools. There's generic, I think it's Stanley, standard size set there, which is nice. And here we go, some overflow on the Craftsman. These are open end. This is standard. That's metric. Nice little holders there. Again, all this stuff is 20 plus years old, but still hanging in there. Craftsman box end wrenches, and these are, I don't really use those anymore, but that was offsets for AC work. Come in handy sometimes. That's also metric. A couple of specialty wrenches over there and a few Allen wrenches. Okay, then we'll move down to the bottom box here. This is just, well, I got some glue sticks for my glue gun. A lot of what's underneath here is wires for scope. If you ever use a scope, there's electrical tape in there as well. Knives, safety knives, and that's like a double-sided tape that I have. Files, and more files, and a little diving knife. Not sure why that's in there, but overflow. Random stuff, that's for a, you know, taking off snap rings. That's a sensor for a overnight light, and those are some magnets back there. Just random stuff here. Got some radio adapters if you want to play MP3s in your car. Alright, then we've got non-impact swivel sockets, standard and metric. Breaker bar here, and a lot of different extensions, 3/8, quarter, and overflow. I've got a bunch of extras. So these are Craftsman round head. I got a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch there. And then over here some 1/2 inch regular and impact extensions. More wrenches. Another full set of box end Craftsman metric. Some of the smaller specialty wrenches, but more Allen wrenches, more specialty wrenches, ratcheting specialty wrenches. Excuse me. Offset box wrenches, which I used to use a lot on Volvo work, but really haven't had a need for, so I took them home. Then we got our stuff here. This is 1/2 inch in the back, metric, 12 point, standard 12 point. There's 6 point behind there. Then you've got your standard 3/8, 6 point, standard 3/8, and 12 point Metric, 1/4-inch stuff here. Another set of ratchets, 1/4-inch. That's a swivel Matco one that I just took home because it used to drive me crazy. Spark plug sockets, triple square sockets there, and some specialty stuff. And then we got our pliers and side cutters. This is all overflow from work, and as you can see, I apparently have some kind of a fetish when it comes to pliers because I have way too many of them. But it's just a bunch, different brands, different types. Then we get down into more household repair stuff. This is another PEX crimper, 1/2-inch, PEX ring cutter, PEX hose cutter. That's for putting in Pergo. You know, grinding wheel for my grinder, blade sharpener, just random stuff. Here's a spare handle for my hammer. More of the same. I got an extra roll for the mat of the box here. A couple of hole saws, laser levels, planers, hole saws, bubbles, you know. And then down here in the bottom, this is just, oh gosh, a little of everything here. Mostly bits and pieces and parts, old radios, parts, fuses, bulbs, you name it, overflow. Every toolbox has at least one box of just crap like this. And I go through this every once in a while, but right now it needs to be cleaned up. Okay. Then on the side box, I've got my Ryobi charger and my waterproof phone out here. And up top, it's air tools. Got this nice Lowe's 1/2-inch impact for home use. And we got a air hammer, air gauge, just a variety of little things here. Again, this is stuff that I took home from work because I just don't need all this extra. Screwdriver City. It's kind of a mess right now, but usually it's a little more organized than that. All the different screwdrivers, mostly Craftsman stuff, but a little of everything. More files, larger screwdrivers. That's a special tool for replacing screening on your windows. And that's for toilet seats. Brake drum tools. Hope to never use those, but occasionally you still do. Let's see, we got O-ring set, shrink wrap set, and I think these are, yeah, those are my punches and chisels. And then down the bottom, this is all spare stuff too. Mostly I got my rags, some wiring, a couple of manuals, stuff like that. So nowhere near as impressive as what I use at work, but that doesn't mean much because I certainly do a lot of work with this box and this setup, and I like it a lot. I've had it since mid-1997, which makes it 20 years old this year. I added the Harbor Freight side box when I took it back home after I sold the Montezuma box to a friend at work. This has been last 2 years been a lot of shuffling in life. So this box came home, or I should say got moved from the other side of the garage over here. The Montezuma box got sold, and I bought a new Harbor Freight 56-inch because I'm no longer working full-time. I work part-time, do the farming for the rest of the year. So sorry if the video is shaky. I don't have my tripod today, but just wanted to do this review, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms in the mountains of North Carolina. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe because there'll be plenty more just like it. Take care.